What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. We're getting ready for the college football playoff. We are breaking down our top 10 Alabama Crimson Tide prospects for the 2024 NFL Draft, guys. If you love the NFL Draft, last week we broke down the top 10 Michigan prospects. And joining us, as always, he is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA on Twitter or X. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. Ready to continue to talk college football prospects. I mean, these are the top 4 teams, allegedly, in the nation. And we're going to talk about their top prospects over the next couple of weeks. And tonight we have the distinct pleasure about talking about Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we did Michigan's last week. And right off the bat, my initial take is Michigan has more prospects, a deeper pool of prospects. But when it comes to Alabama, I think this group is way more top heavy compared to Michigan's, for better or worse. So let's jump right in and talk about, no surprise, Dallas Turner here. Dallas Turner is freaky fast. He's an explosive edge rusher who's still growing to kind of be a more complete, edge rusher. He's got really good power, really good closing speed. One of the best disruptors in this class, a complete athlete that moves well in space at 242 pounds. He absolutely projects as a 3-down edge at the next level. He's currently top 10 nationally in pressures and top 15 in the country in pass rush win rate, 19.7%. There's a good chance he might be a situational pass rusher from the jump. Against the run, he still has room to grow, but it's really just all a matter of Dallas Turner putting it all together. I see him as a top 20 prospect. I like Dallas Turner quite a bit, man. He's had some big moments this year. Any thoughts on Dallas Turner?
Yeah, I think he's certainly going to be in consideration for kind of one of the top edges coming out this year. He has an elite change of direction skill. His first burst is so quick, and he's just instinctual and decisive when using that burst. And honestly, I feel like he utilizes his size to his full advantage. But he's able to kind of slip around and through some blockers while in the run defense. So, yeah, this is a guy that I feel like probably could bulk up a little bit more to be even more effective in the next level. But yeah, I fully agree. He's got to be a top 20 pick easily. I mean, we've obviously talked about our edge rushers, but Dallas has got to be right up there, man. He's really skilled, and honestly, I'm excited to kind of see where he might fall in the rankings, so to speak, of where the edge rushers end up.
Yeah, he really has come on late. As Alabama just ascended, so has Dallas Turner's play. We're going to get into another big component of the rise of Alabama making that final spot for the college football playoff, and Jalen Milroe. We're not talking about him yet, but let's roll on to J.C. Latham, an offensive tackle prospect. We've been talking about this guy for months. I feel like 6'6", 335 pounds, arguably the best pure right tackle in this draft class. Just a house of a man with great strength, especially in the run game. He moves his feet well, very good in pass protection. So far in 2023, he's allowed just 11 pressures and never more than 2 pressures in a single football game. Latham was my number 4 tackle prospect in this year's class during our top 10 show just a couple weeks ago. He's got some experience playing right guard as well, so you got to love that versatility, and I definitely think he's got the athleticism to do that at the next level, at the NFL level. He was a 5-star recruit out of high school, strong hands, needs to be more consistent with this technique, but his foot quickness is ridiculous for someone that size. I think he's a stone cold lock for the first round. And if he's
Mhm.
available for the Eagles when they pick in round 1, I mean, I definitely think he's going to be in the conversation. That's J.C. Latham.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's definitely it's probably somewhere that I've seen range anywhere from kind of maybe the 20s in the first round all the way to the end of the first round, and sometimes he'll sneak into the second. But yeah, he's definitely got to be in consideration, I would assume, for the Eagles at that spot, considering their love of the trenches. But he is just an absolute specimen. Big guy, complete NFL offensive lineman. What 6'6", 350. I mean, this guy's definitely put on some weight this year. But I mean, he's going to be for sure an elite NFL offensive lineman in the next level. He really does have kind of a really good first step, good quickness, especially in pass sets, and adapts pretty well as far as some of the rush techniques in college football. But I feel like he's just a great anchor, good lateral mover, and really just as effective neutralizing whether it be speed rushers or power rushers. I feel like he's got the skills for both. So um, certainly as a run blocker, I've heard the term mauler get used around a lot, but he really is able to collapse that edge and drive defenders past the line of scrimmage. So yeah, this is definitely a guy who's going to be something to look out for at the end of the first round, and who knows? The Eagles do love them some SEC guys now.
Go.
So.
Absolutely. That's J.C. Latham. Let's roll on to Kool-Aid McKinstry. Lead us off, Ryan.
Yeah, listen, Kool-Aid is honestly his intellect, his awareness is off the charts, especially zone coverage wise. Constantly reading, constantly reacting to the quarterback and the routes, and he can it almost feels like he knows how the play is going to unfold at times. Has great length, and honestly is really good at leveraging that length to disrupt passes. Um, and honestly, it's kind of one of those things where I feel like he almost intimidates people on the line. He's just so good, honestly. But yeah, he really is able to do bump and run, utilizing his foot quickness and his fluidity to kind of go side to side, mirroring and challenging any receivers pretty much from the jump. But yeah, he's honestly he's the heart of that defense, and I feel like he's a great leader. You can see that he's constantly leading that defensive backfield for Nick Saban, and this is definitely a guy that is an easy early to mid first rounder. Somebody's going to get themselves the next great corner in this league.
Yeah, I love him. He definitely has some of the best measurables and foundations of any prospect in the cornerback class. Yeah. He's also one of the best punt returners in college football as well. So he's going to be a big time special teamer. Negative wise, he doesn't have a lot of takeaways. He's recorded 26 forced incompletions over the last 2 years, but just one interception. Teams don't really throw his way a lot. So that's important to note, but this guy looks tailor-made to be a CB1 at the next level. Let's roll on to his partner on the other end. And he's really interesting too, because we've mocked him to the Eagles several times. Terrion Arnold coming in at number 4. The other half of Alabama's outstanding outside corner duo. He's been tested, man. As I've said, they're not really throwing the ball at Kool-Aid, but Terrion's been tested and he has performed brilliantly. There's no question Kool-Aid's a better prospect, but Terrion Arnold's a little more physical. He's a little more competitive. He never shies away from contact and coverage or the run game, runs really well, high football IQ, plays as hard as anyone on this list. I don't think there's you can make a short list of guys that have just truly risen throughout the 2023
Yeah.
season. And Terrion Arnold is one of them. He was a day 2, day 3 guy. He started out playing in that shadow of Kool-Aid McKinstry, but he's had a phenomenal season this year and looks like a first-round talent. Any thoughts on Terrion Arnold?
Yeah, you're absolutely. I mean, you said it perfectly. He was in the shadow of Kool-Aid, and I don't think a lot of people gave him the recognition he deserved. And as you said, the people and teams, were scheming to get away from Kool-Aid. So what does that mean? That means you're going right at Terrion Arnold, and man, he absolutely stepped up. He has great cover skills, athleticism, has that big playability. And honestly, him on any other squad, he would be the number one cornerback, for a lot of college football teams, obviously. But, he does a wonderful job of kind of getting his body in the right position at the point, of attack. When the ball's coming in, turns his head, turns his body when need to, and really just does have a really nice quickness to be able to stay with fast wide receivers. He's tall, long arms, which certainly serve him well, in jump ball situations. Powerful hands, and again, something you need, for good corners is to kind of have that hip fluidity. And man, does he have it? He can absolutely go to side and turn at a drop of a hat. So, yeah, this is definitely a guy that I think it's going to still be a little overshadowed by Kool-Aid, but man, he is turning heads by the day. Honestly, he really is.
Prime target for the Eagles at the back end of round 1. We'll be talking about him for many months going forward, and who knows, maybe he continues to climb and he's not even in that conversation anymore. I think he's that good of a prospect.
Long road to go before the draft, so that is certainly possible. The continuous rise he's been doing.
Speaking of long road, my goodness, Jalen Milroe coming in at number 5. He has risen in 2023, man. Arguably the biggest winner of the 2023 season. This is a kid that just seemingly has gotten better and better and better. He's on a short list of quarterbacks that seems to improve at something every single start. He's big, he's athletic, he's fast, he's got a huge arm. Big time playmaker. You look at his week 2 benching against Texas, and ever since then, he has just been absolutely lethal. They changed the offense. If you watch any of my shorts, I kind of went into that a little bit about how Bama kind of tailor-made their offense to fit Milroe's skill set, and they haven't been stopped yet. They've won 7 straight games. Milroe is just lethal in the open field, especially as a runner. His deep ball is very solid. That said, his passing accuracy is nowhere near consistent enough right now. Definitely has room to grow. I'm hopeful that Jalen Milroe stays one more year at Alabama, and with some continued development, maybe this guy could be a first-round pick in 2025. That's how good he is. But any thoughts on Milroe?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You said it best. I mean, he was kind of a little disrespected, and he didn't have the greatest game, and like you said, got benched. But something happened after that, because he has been certainly doing his thing, and he's certainly a kid that can pick up a first down with his legs. He's certainly a threat there, but he certainly has the arm. He has the talent. He has the strength. It's just, as you said, the accuracy just needs to get a little bit more consistent. And yeah, I think I would actually really like to see him play one more year at Bama. But yeah, listen, I just think he's completely just athletic. He's got arm talent. He can pick up first downs with his legs with ease. And, again, that dual threat is something that obviously the NFL is certainly trending towards. So I could definitely see him kind of continuing to accelerate his rise while he goes into the NFL, and maybe not right away, but certainly somebody that could develop into a nice NFL quarterback for sure.
Yeah. And I just read today that Alabama just got a huge wide receiver recruit. So maybe that's
I'll help him
convincing
stay.
enough to get him to stay one more year, because Alabama hasn't had the best wide receivers on that team, as we have seen in years past. Rolling on to, I think we're number 6 now. Could be wrong.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 6.
All right, Deontay Lawson, linebacker prospect. I mean, this guy, his draft stock's kind of all over the place. I've seen him mocked anywhere from day 2 to day 3. Lawson follows a long line of really solid inside backers, such as, Rolando McClain and CJ Mosley. And the first thing that stands out about Deontay is he's a big time leader. Like everywhere you look, this guy is one of the team captains of that Alabama defense. I think Deontay Lawson is kind of a jack of all trades guy. He's good to really good in a lot of different areas, but for better or worse, he's not elite in anywhere else. I think his lack of athleticism could potentially hurt him during the draft process, but the dude is a straight up baller. Any team that gets him, they know they're getting a big time special teamer. I still don't have a full read on this guy yet. We'll see how the draft process plays out, but Deontay Lawson, there he is.
Yeah, no, the first thing you kind of notice with him is he's a solid tackler, like just sound tackler. And he has great quickness, that especially that beginning initial burst. Good dip, good bend, good flexibility, and honestly has really good hands at the point of attack. Really good in the run game. Great at reading that run. And really just shows the knack of wanting to get in there and be a part of a tackle. So I just think certainly he needs to maybe his lack of versatility will probably not help him in the NFL. It's certainly something he needs to work on, is being able to play all spots on the linebacker front. Needs to get a little bit bigger, and honestly seems to struggle once engaged in a solid block. So again, all these things are certainly something that he can work on. But still, I think he's got a kind of a rawness to him, and he's got a real good likability that you just kind of, I don't know, it's rare to find. So just seeing interviews with him and whatnot. So I like this kid. Again, I think he's kind of lost in the shuffle of a mediocre linebacker class. So I don't expect him to be day 1 or day 2 for sure. But again, never know with how these playoffs play off. I think he's 4th in tackles on Alabama. So certainly something that he needs to prove himself in these next couple of games, and certainly could improve his draft prospect during the combine.
Yeah, we did our linebacker show, and there's like a clear top. Like there's Jeremiah Trotter, there's Edgerrin Cooper, and guys like that who are like day 1, round 2 guys. After that, like when you get into like 5, 6 through 10, there's a lot of just a slew of day 3 guys and
middle of the pack kind of guys. And who knows? I mean, and honestly, it's certainly possible that Deontay could kind of get himself into that mix of that middle of the road kind of linebackers. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, he's from Bama, so certainly always going to help.
When in doubt, draft Alabama.
Absolutely.
All right, rolling into number 7. Let's talk about the older, a little heavier version of Dallas Turner, and that is Chris Braswell. He's turned into a very productive 3-down edge rusher who checks off a lot of boxes. Dallas Turner's, the athletic freak on that D-line. But Braswell's got a really nice quick first step. He's got really good size. He's more of a bull rusher. He can shoot a gap. He doesn't really have that much of a pass rush move set. Negative wise, he's more of a pressure producer than a sack artist. He doesn't seem to play every play with the same effort or intensity level. I think this guy develops or looks like a developmental pass rush specialist at this time. I'm not sure I see 3 down edge rusher potentially. I don't know. We'll see. He's very raw. He might even project best to a weak side linebacker at the next level, based on what you want to do with him. But any thoughts on Chris Broswell?
Yeah, he's honestly just kind of an athletic freak. As you said, he's super raw. I was reading up on him, and I saw he squatted 705 pounds, power cleaned 405 pounds, and he also has a vertical of 38.5 inches. Like, what? Excuse me? Like, what? Like, oh my gosh! Like, but you're right. Like, he definitely seems to not be very consistent tackler. Doesn't seem to wrap up and finish his tackles. Not the greatest in coverage, but he has a decent ability as a blitzer, especially with his size and flexibility and speed to kind of get around that edge. But I mean, he certainly man, he is definitely one of those guys where like you're gonna kind of forget about him and you're gonna hear about him in about 5 years where he's finally figured it out and gotten it together. But it's funny because you said he's a little bit older, but yeah, he just seems like he's a late bloomer, and just man, you can see he has the size, the athleticism, he's just a kind of a freak, when it comes to that. But yeah, he's got to put it all together. He's just very consistent, honestly.
Yep. Let's roll on to number 8, and we are talking about Jermaine Burton, a wide receiver prospect who's had some big moments in 2023. This guy's a tough read. He's a guy that lacks consistency in play and effort. He's a guy with a lot of on-field antics, which is a major question mark.
Yeah.
He's a guy that I think NFL teams will like if you love that fire that he plays with, but some teams might not because it's going to lead to a lot of flags. As a wide receiver prospect, this guy is pretty much exclusively an outside receiver on that sideline. But you look at the modern NFL, man, this guy definitely fits. He's a guy that can stretch a field. He's a guy that can get you big yardage down the sideline. I see this guy as a low volume, like highly explosive target at the next level. I don't even see him as a number 1 or a number 2. I think he could be a solid number 3.
Yeah.
He needs to improve his route running. But again, great long speed and tracking ability. I do think there's a strong chance that like if Burton like crushes the draft process, potentially could hear his name called sometime on day 2, but most likely a day 3 guy at this time. Any thoughts on Jermaine Burton?
No, I agree. Definitely a day 3 at this point in time. But yeah, listen, he's super athletic, 6 foot, 200, is really physical on the line. But he's also really good at getting off of press and showing that quickness and those violent hands to kind of get away. Definitely one of the things you notice is his jump ball ability. Great in those situations. Seems to track the ball at the utmost highest point, and also is great at tracking deep balls. Seems to have a really good instinct and timing on both situations. Jump balls and deep balls. So seems to be a pretty decent blocker when asked to do. So that's certainly something that's gonna help him out in the next level. But yeah, you're right. I mean, he's definitely somebody that plays with the fire, but it has absolutely gotten him into some trouble, and seems to not perform well in big games. So yeah, and honestly, he feel like he's very limited in his route tree, so to speak. But it's almost mostly because he hasn't really been asked to run much. So certainly something to improve on the next level if he wants to, be a little bit more versatile and ability to kind of get on the field as much as possible.
Yep. Let's roll on to number 9. A guy I feel like I've been talking about for years. He's been on my radar. I've been making graphics on this guy like 3 different times, I feel like. But Malachi Moore, defensive back prospect. He is a guy that can play multiple positions. He's a starting safety that can move down to the star, be that nickel corner. He can play in the slot. That versatility should be an asset for any NFL team. Any guy that can play in the slot or deep middle of the field and be used in a variety of ways, man. That's definitely like where this NFL is moving towards. So he's definitely going to be attractive in the draft for sure. Not the best athlete, but what he lacks in athletic ability makes up for in knowledge and experience. The biggest question facing Malachi Moore is his health. He had a stress fracture in 2021. So there's that. But I definitely think he's going to have a place in the NFL. I remember starting out, I was much higher on him, and he has kind of fallen off a little bit. But definitely an intriguing prospect, someone that, a defensive coordinator could kind of mold into what he wants him to be. Any thoughts on Malachi Moore?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And being a defensive back on this Alabama team, you certainly kind of get lost in the shuffle with McKinstry and Arnold, and is third on the team in passes defended. But he's tall, he's got long arms, and he's got absolute great hands, powerful hands. And it's certainly something that will bode him well in the next level. But his instinct, his awareness is really good. He seems to know how to read routes and kind of almost predict with high success how the play is going to turn out. So good at anticipating and great in zone coverage. Like you said, he's also very versatile. He can kind of play all over the place. And some coaches definitely gonna mold him into exactly what he needs. But he's definitely somebody that's raw, and just has those mental skills. I feel like that will bode well next level in the NFL. And he'll be able to kind of take those skills and hopefully carve out himself a nice career. I mean, again, I don't expect him to be anything more than a mid-day threer, but we'll see. Again, it's a long road. So as of right now, it's I'd say a midday 3 for me.
Yeah. We have a comment saying 4th, 5th round grade for Malachi Moore. And rounding out our top 10 Alabama prospects, it is Jase McClellan, a running back. This guy, his college career has kind of been a disappointment. He was a very good recruit. In fact, he was the 7th best running back prospect in his class behind guys like Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs. He's a solid runner. There's nothing really special about his game. He can do everything pretty well. He has led the Crimson Tide with over 800 yards this season, but he did miss that conference championship game against Georgia due to an ankle injury. I have a hard read on this guy. I don't know what his draft stock is currently. I do expect him to test well at the draft combine, but as a running back prospect, he's not a great creator. He's got some injury history and he has to stay healthy. Jase McClellan to round it out. Any thoughts on Jase?
Yeah, I mean, he, like you said, he leads the team in rushing with 800 yards, adding another 126 on 13 receptions. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's unfortunate that he comes from a long line of pretty good Alabama backs, and unfortunately, he just isn't really up at that level as of yet. I mean, not saying that he can't be, but I would say it's unlikely at this point. But listen, he certainly is, very capable weapon. I personally think he's a very good receiver. He just maybe doesn't get as many targets as he should. But He's real flexible, able to kind of turn that corner, get around the perimeter. And it's kind of has this not a really fast like straight line speed, but it's kind of almost like a surprising like sneaky speed that will be able to kind of get through get through holes and run low. So yeah, I feel like he's a pretty good goal line running back as well. Something that certainly could carve a niche out in the NFL, being a goal line guy. But yeah, I mean, he certainly has a knack for picking out the lanes that he needs to follow and kind of breaking off chunks of yardage. But yeah, I think there's a lot of talented running backs in this class, and unfortunately, I don't foresee him being much more than maybe a fifth or sixth rounder at best. Honestly, maybe not even that.
Yeah. Takeem says he'll be an undrafted free agent.
Certainly possible.
Yeah. The running back class is not strong at the top, but it is pretty deep.
It's deep with decent talent, but you're right. I mean, the last, especially last year. I mean, with Bijan,
it's not like last year.
No, exactly. And Gibbs, it's it's a little rough, but it's unfortunate.
All right, quick recap. Number 1, Dallas Turner. Number 2, J.C. Latham. Number 3, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Number 4, Terry and Arnold. Number 5, Jalen Milroe. I feel like we're probably too low on Jalen Milroe. We'll see. I don't know. Number 6, Deontay. By the way, I'm the one who created these rankings, so I'm just talking down on myself. Yeah. Number 6, Deontay Lawson. Number 7, Chris Broswell. Number 8, Jermaine Burton. Number 9, Malachi Moore. And then number 10, Jason McClellan. Ja'Cory Brooks is another really good prospect, but he's decided to enter the transfer portal, so he will be not be entering the draft. Any final thoughts on the Alabama class in 2024, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, as we said, the kind of the top on this list is really talented. And then it kind of gets a little dicey, middle of the road type. But yeah, I mean, listen, Bama certainly is always going to have great prospects, and again, Nick Saban is a great college coach, and he really does prepare these players for the NFL. So I don't doubt that we would be surprised to see one of these guys that later in these rankings turn out to be a good NFL player. So it's always a good bet to bet on Bama players and SEC players in general. So
absolutely, guys, thank you everyone for watching our last part of this show. If you watched our top 10 linebackers show from what was that? Yesterday. Jesus. That was yesterday. We made a poll, Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
And the leading position in voting is safety. So we will be doing spot this week, breaking down the top 10 safety prospects in the 2024 NFL draft. Guys, if you're new to the channel, we've covered cornerback, edge rusher, offensive tackle, and linebacker. So it's fitting Eagles fans want to continue to look at defensive players at this point, which makes a ton of sense. So yeah, we'll be on the lookout for that. We will continue our college football playoff preview, breaking down our top 10. Washington, and who's the other team? Texas. And both teams are loaded as well, so that'll be fun as well. Make sure you give a follow to my man Ryan Reese over there at Philly Sports PSA. I am Dives. Thank you everyone for watching. Stay awesome.